What did ancient humans actually eat? It's 11 p.m. You're standing in front of an open refrigerator, cold air on your face. You're not hungry, you know you're not hungry, and yet your hand is already moving. A can of soda, some leftover pizza, yogurt, fruit that was grown on the other side of the planet and delivered to your door. You grab something, you don't even decide, your hand just moves. You have done this your whole life and never once asked why. Tonight, you're going to find out. And the answer is going to take you back 3 million years, to a version of yourself you wouldn't recognize. Doing things you can't imagine. Eating things that would make you sick just to look at. But that version of you is why you are standing here right now. And once you understand what they did to survive, you will never open that refrigerator the same way again. Close it, we're going back. 3 million years ago, you are not a hunter. You are not even close to a hunter. You are small, slow, and surrounded by things that want to kill you. Lions, leopards, hyenas. Everything on the African savannah is faster than you, stronger than you, and better armed than you. You have one thing they don't, hands that can grip a rock hard enough to break bone. And that is enough. For now, here is how your day works. A lion makes a kill across the grassland, an antelope, a zebra, something large. You watch from a distance, you wait. The lion eats the best parts first, muscle, liver, heart. Then the hyenas arrive and fight over what's left, ribs, skin, smaller bones. You wait longer, you cannot fight a hyena, you cannot outrun a leopard. So you wait until everything else has finished, until the carcass is stripped, until there is nothing left that any other animal wants. Then you move in. What's left are the thick leg bones, the thigh bones. Bones so dense that even hyena jaws, designed specifically to crush bone, cannot crack them open. But you can. You pick up a sharp stone flake, an Alduin tool, the most advanced technology that exists in your world, and you smash it against the bone with everything you have. Once, twice, the third time the bone splits. Inside is marrow, gray, slick. Dripping with fat, you scoop it out with your fingers and eat it raw. And in this moment, crouched over a stripped carcass in the middle of the African savannah, eating raw fat with your bare hands while keeping one eye on the tree line for predators, this is not desperation. This is a feast. This is the best meal available to any member of your species on Earth right now. No one eats better than this. You eat the brain too. A cracked skull holds almost a pound of dense fat, the most calorie-rich substance available to you anywhere in this landscape. For a body running on scraps, a skull is a jackpot. You crack it open the same way you crack the leg bone. You eat what's inside. You don't think about it. There is nothing to think about. This is food. This is survival. This is Tuesday. You also eat insects, termites, grubs, beetles. Fat white larvae the size of your thumb, pulled from rotting logs and eaten immediately. They crunch like shrimp. They are high in protein, high in fat, and they do not run away. For your body in this era, insects are not a last resort. They are a reliable, predictable food source in a world where nothing is reliable and nothing is predictable. You eat them without hesitation. You have eaten them every day of your life. This is how it goes for over 1 million years, day after day. Generation after generation. The same carcasses, the same bone marrow, the same insects. The same scraps from other predators' kills. 1 million years of this. And then everything changes. Fire. The oldest human fire ever found is inside Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. It is approximately 1 million years old. Someone, one of your ancestors, someone who looked enough like you that you would recognize them on the street, made a fire and kept it burning inside a cave. And nothing was ever the same again. Once you have fire, you have cooking. And cooking changes your body in ways that take thousands of generations to fully understand, but that you feel immediately the first time you hold a piece of meat over a flame and smell what happens. Meat roasted over coals, roots buried in hot ash, marrow bones dropped directly into embers. The food that comes out is different, softer, more calorie-dense, easier to absorb. Cooking is predigestion. It does chemical work on the food before it even enters your body. Which means your gut has to do less work. Which means your body pulls more energy from every single bite. And here is what that extra energy does. It goes to your brain. Your brain is only 2% of your body weight, but it burns 20% of every calorie you consume. It is the most expensive organ in your body by an enormous margin. And for millions of years, your ancestors' brains were limited by what their diet could power. Raw food, scraps, insects, it wasn't enough to run a bigger machine. But cooked food, dense, pre-broken down, calorie-rich cooked food, that was enough. And as your ancestors started cooking, something remarkable happened. Their guts shrank, literally. The long, energy-hungry digestive system that raw food required became shorter, more efficient. And all that freed-up energy flowed upward, into the skull, into the brain. The brain that is reading these words right now exists because one of your ancestors held a piece of meat over a fire 1,000,000 years ago and didn't stop. By 300,000 years ago, your ancestors look almost exactly like you. And they are eating almost everything they can catch, dig up, or reach. Mammoth, bison, wild horse, reindeer hunted across open plains, fish and shellfish pulled from rivers and coastlines, roots and wild grains dug from the earth, berries, nuts, mushrooms, eggs stolen from nests, and honey, especially honey. The Hadza, a hunter-gatherer tribe in Tanzania, who still live the way your ancestors lived before farming existed, get roughly 15% of their total calories from wild honey. They climb trees that would terrify most modern humans. They get stung hundreds of times. They keep going back. Because nothing in the wild delivers that many calories in a single find. A dripping honeycomb is the richest meal most of your ancestors ever encountered in their entire lives. One find, thousands of calories. Pure concentrated energy that the body can use immediately or store as fat for later. And that craving, that ancient, overwhelming pull towards sweetness, is still running inside you right now, tonight. At 11 p.m., in front of the open refrigerator. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a honeycomb found in a tree after a 3-hour climb and a can of soda pulled from a shelf. The signal is the same. Sweet means energy. Energy means survival. Eat it now. Store it for later. The program is 3 million years old, and it has never been updated because until about 200 years ago, it never needed to be. Modern food didn't create that craving, it just learned to exploit it. Soda, candy, cereal, bread, sauces. Almost every packaged food on Earth is sugar wearing a different costume. And your body responds to all of it exactly the same way it responded to a honeycomb on the savannah. With urgency, with need. With the deep animal certainty that this is rare and precious and must be consumed now before someone else gets it. That is why you cannot stop eating it. That is why your hand moved in the refrigerator without your permission. You are not being weak. You are being exactly what 3 million years of evolution built you to be. But here is where the story takes a turn you didn't expect. A cave in England. Gough's cave. Researchers excavating it found human bones dating back approximately 14,700 years. And when they examined those bones carefully, when they looked at the cut marks under magnification, mapped the patterns, compared them to every other type of bone processing they had ever seen, the story those bones told was one no one wanted to read. The skulls had been meticulously cleaned with stone tools. The face, the base, carefully removed. What remained was the top of the skull, shaped rim by rim into a cup. The long bones, the femur, the tibia, had been cracked open exactly the way your earliest ancestors cracked open antelope bones. For the marrow inside, these were human bones, and here is the part that is hardest to sit with. This was not starvation. The same cave contains the remains of horses, deer, and other animals. There was food, there was plenty to eat. A 2017 study calculated how many calories a human body actually provides, approximately 125,000. A single bison provides 600,000. A mammoth provides 3 million. Humans were not efficient food. Choosing a human over a bison made no nutritional sense whatsoever. It was a choice, and it gets stranger. One forearm bone found at Gough's cave had been carved with a deliberate zigzag pattern after the meat was already gone. This was not desperation, this was ritual, this was ceremony. This was your ancestors deciding that what they were doing meant something beyond survival, something that required decoration, intention, and repetition. Gough's cave is not alone. Similar remains have been found across Europe, Germany, France, Spain, Croatia. Across hundreds of thousands of years, in different places, different cultures. Different eras, the same pattern, over and over. Your ancestors were doing this to each other not because they had to. Because at some point, they decided it was the right thing to do. You don't need to understand it, you just need to know it happened. And that the body sitting in front of that refrigerator tonight came from a lineage that was capable of it. There is one more thing. Your ancestors didn't just eat fresh meat. When a hunter made a kill, a mammoth, a horse, a bison, they couldn't eat the whole animal at once. So they buried it, stashed it in caves, hid it in cold streams, and then came back days later, weeks later, sometimes months later. By the time they returned, the meat was crawling with bacteria, breaking down, rotting. And they ate it anyway. Some researchers believe they even preferred it that way. Rotting meat has already been partly broken down by bacteria. It's easier to chew, easier to absorb. The bacteria even produce B vitamins the body needs. Your body remembers this too. Every fermented food you love, cheese, yogurt, sourdough, beer, wine, soy sauce, pickles, is controlled rot. Decomposition that has been slowed and made safe. Your taste for aged cheese didn't develop in a French dairy. It developed on a savannah 100,000 years ago, eating something far worse, and finding that your body handled it just fine. Every craving you have tonight is ancient. Fat, salt, sugar, the richest thing available. The rarest thing in reach. Eat while you can, store what you can. Because tomorrow, in the world your body was built for, there might be nothing. If you took a modern human, you tonight, exactly as you are, and dropped them into the world of 50 years ago, you would probably be dead within days. You would not know how to find clean water. Half the plants around you would be a mystery. You would not be strong enough or fast enough to run down an animal, climb a tree for honey, or crack open a thigh bone for marrow. You would stand in a landscape full of food and starve because you could not see it. But if you took a human from 50 years ago and dropped them into your kitchen right now, tonight they would stop moving. They would look around slowly, a cold, sweet drink sealed in metal. Bread someone else baked, milk sealed and fresh for weeks. Fruit from a country they have never heard of, food that no one had to chase. Food that required no risk, no skill, no waiting, no death. They would think they had walked into the home of a god. For 3 million years, every human who ever lived went to sleep hungry. Woke up uncertain, spent every hour of every day in pursuit of enough calories to survive until the next day. That was the entire project. That was the whole of human existence for longer than you can actually comprehend. And you tonight at 11 p.m. not hungry. Opening the refrigerator anyway. You might be the first version of this species in 3 million years who doesn't have to. Your hand still moved though, it always will. The program doesn't know it's over. It only knows one thing: eat what's rich, eat what's rare, eat while you can. Because in the world it was built for, the world it still thinks you're living in tomorrow, there might be nothing left. Close the refrigerator, you won't.